Hello and welcome to Crafting with Jane. Today I'm using this stamp. Now this was actually given to me by a dear friend, and it's a woodware craft collection, clear magic singles, and it's called Vintage Hare. The number is FRS 779 and it is the most lovely vintage looking hare. So I thought we'd do something with this today, and I've brought out a positioning tool, stamping platform, because I'm going to be using different colours and things on it. So what I wanted to do was to ensure that I had enough colours. So I want to start with I'm doing sort of greens and yellows, and hopefully it's going to be spring looking. So I'm just going to stamp up some of it down on here, which is quite nice because this is near, so it's got the sort of the growth coming up through on here. Now it doesn't matter that I'm going over the hare, because I'm going to stamp the hare again, and the hare is just going to be in browns, but I'm going to do it afterwards. So I'm just literally just placing this on here so I can get some of the colouring and stuff coming through. Now I've got I told you I've got a this old darning tool that I use, but it's not brilliant, so I've actually got something else which is quite old. You just grab it. Well, it's not probably as old, but it is fairly old. It's a roller, and I'm hoping that the roller will give, because my hands aren't particularly strong anymore, so this is a little hand roller, and I'm hoping that that will just give a little bit of extra pressure on there. So let's take it up very carefully and see. Oh yes, we haven't got anything down on that side at all, have we? So let me just see if I can bend this a little bit and get anything up in on there. No, we're not going to. I think it's because I need the other platform in underneath, don't I? Because look, there's too much of a gap on there. So I'm going to, what I need to do is I need to take this out. So let me just, we'll do it on the other side. There's two pieces. I put a little bit of sticky tape down purely because if I'm trying to do something in the center, so I need to make sure that we get this. Yes, that's going to be fine on there, as accurately as I can in on the center. So let me just put my tape down again, and I'm hoping it was about there. I'll look in and see in a minute. Right, let me just have a look and see if that comes. Yeah, that's going to be fine, I think. I'll just ease it over a tad into that bit there. Then I think we should be all right. So I just need to make sure it's stuck down well. Right, let's try again. So we're going to be using the green to start off with, and we want, as I say, just up round in on where the flowers are going to come. So let's give that a go and see how that comes out. That should be a bit better with a bit of luck. There we are, perfect, perfect. So that's got the greeny bits coming up on there of the oh, what do you call it, the flowers and things. Now I'm going to use a different sort of green because I want some different parts to come out in different colours. So I'm going to try and do, let's just do this, bring it across a bit so you might be able to see it, because it's using a positioning tool, it comes in quite a lot. So I'm going to try and do some of the little bits up on here and just give them a little bit of bits of other colours coming in. So we've got this in 2 tones of colours now, so I can move that across. And again, I'm just going to roller it. And this is one of the things, if you've got a positioning tool, it's really good for building up different colours and layers and things that you might want. So let's have a look at that. Yes, now you see where we've got the darker greens and things coming in. Now I want to use a yellow just in on the top part. Now, because, excuse me, because I've used green, I'm going to just wipe that part across, because what I don't want to do is to have the ink coming through on this yellow. So I need to do this. I'm going to turn it around a little bit so I can reach it, and we'll have some yellow up in on the top here like this. I might even do a little bit down in on here, just on those words. Okay, so that's a bit of yellow coming through. And then I'm just going to do exactly the same in over the top. Take my roller, because I do find that using a roller, and this one, as I say, is quite an elderly one, so it's not, I could put felt on it, and I may well do that, but I actually use it sometimes for other things. So I'm just making sure that I've got, oh no, that's nice, because you've got sort of a real different tone coming through on there, which I really quite like. I like those little buttons coming in a different look. Okay, so I might do a little bit more of that yellow, because I want it to stand out just a little bit more, just on those top bits, and it's not as bright as I would have liked it. So let's just take that over the top. I'm not going to do it down at the bottom, because I quite like that yellow green. It'll all give us tones of green, because all of those colours together make it green. So let's just put this across, press it down on here, pick it up. That's better. So I really like that. That's all I'm going to do on there for now. So I'm going to take this one off, take my sticky and put that back down again, because it just keeps things in position. And now I'm going to take another sheet. Now this is a little bit smaller, but that's fine, because all I'm going to do on this is to do the hair. So I just need to make sure that I've got it in the right position. No, it needs to come out a bit this way, I think. That's perfect. So let me just take it to there, put it down, and make sure that it's going to come. Paws are not quite right, are they? Needs to come this way a little bit. Now I'm doing this to show you that you don't have to clean the stamp off and to put it in afterwards. That little paw's there, that one's there. I just need to take it just a tad this way. Okay, put that in that way. Let's have a look and see. That's better. So it's all in, all the legs are in. Okay, so now I'm going to clean it. Just bring it this way so hopefully you can see it a bit. So I'm just going to clean that, and then I'm going to use, I want to use some browns. And the browns I'm going to use are a dark brown and a slightly lighter brown. So I'm going to use this lighter brown to start off with. And as I say, I just want the hair. So I'm just making sure that the whole of the hair is going to be stamped. And then we can put him in on here. Take my roller. And this is a pale one, so this is a colour called Crumb Cake, which is, I've always really liked this colour. And as I say, I do use stamps quite often that are retired because I'm not a demonstrator anymore, so I use colours that I enjoy rather than colours that are on trend or I'm trying to sell to you. These are just my collection. You can use any form of inks you want, and you will find that they will come out. And you see that hasn't come out particularly well, but we'll try the other one, and it might just be it needs to be built up a little bit. And I think it's because it's a bit vintagey. So I'm going to try and do, I want to do, I'm just sort of tapping bits on here and just seeing how that comes out in the darker. Give that a bit of a, see how that's come through. Oh, that's better. You've got some dark and some light on there. I think it's supposed to be just a bit sort of splotchy and on there. It's me looking at this bit. I don't think it's supposed to, I think it's supposed to have a little bit of a, maybe a liney part in there that's just not coming through very well. But I'm going to try that in the light again and see if I can just get that middle part through. Do you see just in on here? I want that to come a little bit darker, so let's just take that in on here and see how that's going to come out. That should, with a bit of luck, come out a bit better. So I'm just going to ease it on here to see if I can get it up. And as I say, a lot of it is because my hands aren't particularly strong. So it's got nothing to do with the actual positioning tool. It's my hands just don't give a huge amount of pressure because they're not very strong anymore. I think that's probably, I'm just looking to see where it comes on here. I think that's probably about as much as we're going to be able to do on there. But I think that's fine. Let me just make sure the eye is as bright as I can get it, because do want to have a quite a dark looking eye. Yes, that's getting better, isn't it? I might just do one little more piece of this the middle toned ones, just to make sure I can get it as dark as I can, because we're going to cut this one out so we can then layer it up a bit. So let's put this on here, just take that eye and take these bits on here, press it down, see how it's going to come out. That's better. That's coming out quite nicely. Good. Okay, so just clean that off, and then that is the stamping part done. Which is quite good. So these are have all been done with water-based inks. I'm just saying that because we're going to be doing some things with some alcohol markers, and that will give us, now this you can see it's a little bit damp. Can you see how it's still wet? So I'm going to leave it there because I'm going to take my little piece of tape and put that back on there because I can use it again. And put that on there, and then that one can come out of the way, and we've now got our two different pictures that are very different. We wanted the green and stuff in the background of the background, and we've now got the, just put that one there out of the way. We've now got these colours coming through quite nicely. Now I've got to, it's still a bit damp because I've used quite a few colours. Let's use this one, and I want to just add a little bit of extra colouring in on the back here. So I'm going to use some sponge daubers, and I want to then take the colours of this and just add some other colours in on here. So I could actually do, in fact, I'm going to use my blending brushes. Changing my mind. I'm going to use my blending brushes. So let me just grab some blending brushes out because I have them in different colours. And I've just spent some time in clearing up my workstation so that it's as tidy as it's going to be, starting off in the new year as I want it to be. So I want to try and take some greens and things in on here, and I want to take a different colour green. I don't want to take the same greens, so I'm going to take, let me just have a look and see. Now I've got this one, which is quite a pale one, and I might use that, and I might use, whoops, just throwing some glue on the floor. I might use this one, which is soft sea foam, and see how that's going to come out just down on the bottom, because I don't want it to be too bright. Now this is probably, it's got a bit of blue on it, but that should be fine. So I'm literally just taking it through on the edge, just blending it just into the background a little bit. I want to do different colours coming through on this, so I'm just building up some colour here. Okay, so that's that sort of green. Now I've got some of this yellow. I quite liked that yellow, didn't I? Let's see if I can take that in on this one with the browns. Yes, that's quite nice. You see, what I want to do is to just take colours quite sort of subtly, so that they don't come too bright. Now that's a certain celery. I think that's a bit paler. Let's have a look and see if that's a little bit paler than the other green. Be fine on there, shouldn't it? Just bringing that up in like this. So as I say, we've got these colours coming through in underneath as we're building up that background. Now the top part I want to do in some very different colours, I think. So let me just put these greens back. So I used some of them, but not all of them. So I'm just going to put these ones back. Hopefully not knock you as we go. I don't think, I might need some of the browns in on the hair. Don't want the yellow anymore. And now I'm going to use some pink and top colour. That's quite a bright pink, but I quite like it. And then I'm going to use this, which is a bit slightly sort of purpley. Let's try those at the top to see. I might have to put some blue in on this one, but we'll see. So let's take a little bit of this one, and we're going to do this one up in on this corner. And that's quite nice, as long as you don't over egg it. So don't put too much colour on. That will blend quite nicely. So that's perfect. I don't want any more than that. And then I'm going to take this one, which is a sweet sugar plum, which is a purpley colour, and I'm going to do that from the other side. So I'm just going to take that from this side, and you can see that this is a very different purpley colour. And as I say, it doesn't matter that we're doing it over the hair, because the one that we've done before we're cutting out. So you can see that sort of blends through quite nicely, but I want to tone it into another mid-tone. So I'm going to take a blue. So let's take this blue. And I just want to add a little bit of blue in on the centre. So let's see if I can get some blue in on here. Just take that down. I think I just inked that one, so it's a bit darker than I wanted it, but I think it'll work. There we go. So we've now got all of the different sort of colours coming through, and I just inked that one, so it's a little bit darker. Now we've got this one, and I think I just want to add some brown in on the hair to make the hair more sort of realistic. Now I could use the blending brushes. I'm not going to. I'm actually going to use some, just take these out like this from the top carefully. I'm going to use some alcohol markers for this. So I need something that is going to be quite a neutrally grey brown colour on here, because I don't want to detract from there, but I don't want white. So I'm going to try GG3. Let's see if I can find, here we go, GG3, which is a grey. What's GG5? WG5. WG5, that looks more of a browny colour. WG3, that's a grey one. We'll try those two and see how they go. So that certainly looks more brown, so I'm just going to try this one to start off with, and I'm just going to do it sort of in the back of it. Yeah, that's perfect. So all I'm doing is I'm going to colour in the whole of the hair through on here, and because these are alcohol and the paper is the ink that we stamped with is water-based, they won't bleed together. So I can just literally colour them through. And that's why I said I didn't want it to be dark. All I wanted it to do was to make the background of the hair, instead of being white, I wanted it to stand out a bit more. And that's the nice thing about mixing and matching. You know, use what you've got. I always say use what you've got in your stash, because by doing what you've got in your stash, you then end up using everything that you've got, rather than going, oh, I can't mix one with the other. As long as you're mixing opposites, so alcohol with water-based inks work perfectly, which is why when you're using alcohol markers, we normally stamp in something like Memento, which is a water-based ink, or like me, I stamp in my VersaFine, but I leave it to dry for a good while, and a good while I mean, you know, more than a few minutes, so quite a long time. So I'm just going to put this, oh, I've just realised I've put a wrong colour up in on there. I've mixed and matched too much on there. Okay, so that's that now done. All I need to do now is to very carefully cut it out. Now it's an easy shape to cut out. It's not going to be something that's going to be too difficult. So that's why I haven't done it at a separate time. So let me just get some decent scissors. That's the only thing you need to do when you're fussy cutting, is to get some decent scissors. Now I like to do it under natural light, so I'm not doing this under natural light. As you can see, this is under my lights, and so it's not as easy to follow through, but it's not going to be too bad, I don't think. So try to do it so you can see what I'm doing. but it's quite fun doing. I find it quite relaxing sometimes doing fussy cutting. As I say, I need to work out where that one comes. Oh, little back leg doesn't come very far at all, does it? That little leg only come to there? I think it does. You know, when you suddenly look round on something and go, is that leg only going to there? But it is, because it's running, so that's fine. So I'm just going to go all the way around here. You can fast forward this bit. As I say, I know some of you sit and watch all my videos in full and sit with a cup of coffee and you know, listen to me, or sometimes craft along with me, which is even more fun. I think that's great, the people that will sit and have maybe not the same stamp set but something very similar, and will craft along with me. So that's the fun thing. You'll notice that if you're new to my channel, and I know I've had quite a few new subscribers recently, that I don't do lots of editing. I just craft and you join me, and you can sit and watch and have a cup of coffee and a biscuit and watch, or you can say be sitting at your craft room and be crafting along with me. However you want to do it, it's entirely up to you. And if you want to race through and just fast forward it and just see the bits you want to, that's absolutely fine too. You know, that's the great thing about YouTube. You can watch and dip in as much as you want and take from it what you want. So, you know, if you don't want to see me fussy cutting this out, then you can just fast forward it. And it's better than when I'm watching videos, I must admit, I find it quite frustrating when people fast forward themselves, because I'm like, I like to be able to see what I'm watching. So but that's my personal taste. I have done occasionally ones where they've started to go on forever and ever, and I thought, oh, for goodness sake, I better do a bit of a edit on it. But I don't enjoy editing, and I don't find it, when I watch it back, I always go, you lose part of the crafting, if you see what I mean. You lose the person just going through the motion, and you can actually see how long it takes. So when you fast forward it, sometimes you think, oh, that didn't take very long, and then you do it yourself and you go, oh, actually it takes a bit longer. But you can see with me, I tend to try and move the paper as much as I can, and then just come in, and we'll take this one out this way like that. Okay, so that's our little hare done. So those bits can go in the bin. I think I might take, I don't think I want to take anything off, but I want the hare to come in. There we go. And come in, and so you can see the difference in the colour and how he's standing out. Now, I was looking to see whether I wanted to take any of these pieces out, but I don't. I like the way those have come out nicely. So what I need to do now is to take some glue, and I could put it up with dimensionals, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to add a little bit of glue on here. And the reason being is that most of my cards I post. So, you know, my cards go off to various people around the world, whether it's a rack group I belong to, whether it's some of my lovely subscribers on here who've made contact and I've made contact, and we send things to each other, which is rather nice. So, you know, postage is not cheap at the moment. In fact, it's getting more and more expensive. So what I try and do is to show you ways that you don't have to use a lot of sorry, I'm concentrating to make sure that I get this as near as I can do. So yeah, I try and make sure that you don't have too many dimensions and things and ways of doing things so you don't have it. Okay, so I think that looks quite nice. Now I've chosen a couple of backgrounds on here. So I've chosen some ones that I think will work. I need to just give that a little wipe, don't I? Because if I don't, I'll end up with yellows and pinks and blues all over. This is why I quite like using a glass mat, although I do get a bit of a reflection on the camera, but I don't think it detracts at all. I need a bit of kitchen roll, which I haven't got at the moment, so that can just go like that. Okay, so I think I'm going to have that like that, and that like that. Oh, that's interesting. I need to cut that down a bit, don't I? Because that is... Okay, let me cut this down a tad, and then I can always do some... So I think that this is... That's the same size as my background, so this has got to be... Just bring that up here a second. I think this should be 5 and 5.5 by 3 3/4. So this has got to be 5 1/4. So I'm going to take it just by 1/8 of an inch this way. I might actually take it down to 5 1/4 this way. I'll do it that way. No, I won't. I'll take it to there. Then I'm going to take it that way and see what 5 1/2 is. 5 1/4 rather. So that's 5 1/4. Then I've got to do this 5 1/4, 3.5. So I'm just going to take a bit from here. In fact, I might have to do that to there, almost. And then I'll have this one to make it 3 1/2. Now, is that going to come nicely? I don't want to take the bottom of the foot on there. No, I'm going to do it all at the top. So let's get that to 3 1/2. That's why if you sort of line things up and have a look and see where it comes, you can see whether you want to take it. I didn't want to take it from the bottom because it would have detracted too much from it wouldn't have been as balanced. Okay, so that is then going to go onto here like that, and then that's going to go onto there like that, because I like those colour tones. I think they work quite nicely, even though that's sort of a peachy orangey colour. I think that works quite well with all of the tones going through. But what I need to do now is I wanted to start making it a bit of a spring card. Now I've got these are from All and Create stamps, which, as you know, I really enjoy, but this is a real sort of mix and match. So I'm doing this, and I'm just going to take it, don't want to take it too low because I want to do a colour round it. So, and if I do it too tight, then when I go to put my colour around the side, it then doesn't work very well. So I can take that off a little bit though. Take that off just a little bit like that. Okay, so let's put that. That's going to come down there. It's not very straight, was it? Let's try and get that a bit straighter. That's better. Okay, so that's going to come in like that. But I want to just add get the good old Posca pens out. And I think I want to have gold, because I quite like gold as a background. And gold works with so many things. Sorry, I've got both of mine. There we go. And I could do some splatters as well. You know me and my splatters. I'm into splattering at the moment because I think it just adds something to everything. Okay, so this is going to come down in on here. But I want to, before I put it on, I want to just give it an edge. And it's going to have an edge in the gold. So I'm going to do it with the small one because it's quite a small lettering. So let me just get my ruler out. And we'll put that down on the edge like that. Give it a shake. You can hear the little ball bearing inside that moves, that makes sure that all of the mica and everything goes round. So that's one side. Don't want it to be too trying to do quite a narrow line. And then we'll have this little bit. Okay, so that's going to have that. That's going to be the spring part in there. And then on this one, I'm going to use the fatter gold. And these are Posca pens, as I keep turning around and telling you. I think you can probably buy them anywhere in the world. But I'm not sure. But I get mine from, if you're in the UK, I get mine from Robert Dyer's. Now have the stationers in their store, which is called Ryman's. And I have one in my local town because I try and walk into my town because the traffic on the roads is horrendous to try and get in and park, so I walk in. So it's nice to be able to get things in my local town rather than having to drive out somewhere to get them. So and they quite often do them on offer, so you quite often get, you know, 20% off or some form of you know, discount with it. Okay, so this is then going to go on to here, which I think will work quite nicely. Let's do the whole thing now. I need to just clean that up because otherwise we'll have bits everywhere. But you can see how I do like just adding a little bit of colour around the edge. And I'm still using a mat this time. You know, quite often I don't use mats at all. So this time it's a layered card, but it's not overly, it hasn't got dimensionals, you know, foam pads or anything like that on it. It's just got a few layers of cards to just give that bit of interest on there. So this is going to come like this. I'm going to just put that in that way. So that can go in like that. I'm going to put this one in there on the outside of the card. And again, it's quite nice sometimes to use coloured cardstock. You know, I often use white, and I use a lot of square ones, whereas this one is a sort of a neutral colour, but it's got white inside, so it works quite well. I don't have to use a different pen to write inside or stamp inside. So that can then come on like that. And then we're just going to put this in like that on there. Let's give that a little bit like that. So that one can then go in like this, which gives the spring, which I think makes it look quite nice. And then I'm going to use some of this gold and just see if I can get a little bit of splatter with the gold. Which I don't think I can on here. I'm trying to see whether I can. No, I can't. This gold is not. It's I think it's on its last legs. Let's try this one. See if I can do it with this one. And we'll see. Yes, that's better. I don't know whether you can see this very well, but I can certainly see it quite well, and it's coming out quite nicely. And I don't want too much. I just want a little bit to add a little bit of just gold sparkle on there. I'm not using any other colours. I'm going to pick it up a little bit so you can see, hopefully, there. You can see the splatters on there now. Now, when they dry, they will just give it a bit of an extra shimmer. So I think that's quite a pretty spring card for somebody. As always, please stay safe and well. Please be kind, and look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye-bye.